You don't always know you're being abused. There's no bruise, no broken bones, no moment that screams danger. But one day you wake up and realize you've been shrinking. You barely recognize yourself. You're anxious, apologizing every time, wondering why you feel so wrong. You don't speak up, you doubt, you silence what you think. You stop trusting your gut because theirs is what you've learned to believe. Hi, I'm Dasha. I studied psychology for most of my life. I have multiple degrees in clinical psychology and neuroscience, and I should have known the signs. But I spent 3 years with someone who never hit me and still managed to dismantle who I was. I never once thought of myself as a battered woman. I was just a girl in love with a troubled man, and I told myself I could handle it. He was just misunderstood, I would say, that no one could see past his anger. No one except me, that is. I would fix him. I would be the one. I told myself love was medicine. Like all he needed was some fucking chicken soup, the same way you would treat a cold, and it would cure those cheating sniffles. That if I poured enough comfort and patience into him, all the poison would just drain out. But it never did. I became his confidant, his therapist, and last of all, his girlfriend. He cheated, I stayed. I just told myself he's damaged, he's hurting. I should just be proud of him for being honest. I remember there was one night, I just handed in my thesis for my master's degree. I was so excited. I was going to call him and actually tell him about it. But he called me first. He was drunk. Said he'd been out with friends and met someone. They were having a good time until she called him a Neanderthal. So she walked out, and instead of apologizing or feeling shame for what he did, because he was basically on a date, all he said was, I cheated on you to protect myself because you do it to me eventually. And instead of walking away, I felt sorry for him, like he was some abandoned puppy on the side of the road. And I thought if I just wrapped him in enough blankets of forgiveness, he'd finally learn what love was. That was the first of many moments where I should have left. But that's the thing about emotional abuse. It teaches you to explain it away. You rewrite the story so their cruelty becomes their hurt and your pain becomes your patience. Leaving feels like failure. Staying feels like loyalty. You know, emotional abuse doesn't always look like anger or violence. It can come from someone who says they love you, believe it or not. Someone who makes you feel like you're the problem. You can be with a narcissist and they'll make you believe you're overreacting, when really they're just protecting what they can't face in themselves. And that's the part I think that hurts the most, because you start to think maybe they're right. Maybe if we were just a little quieter, a little calmer, a little bit better, a little bit less sensitive, they'd be happy. But that's how emotional abuse works. It's invisible. It hides behind charm, guilt, and just enough good moments to make you question your reality. So why don't people leave, right? Well, here's what psychology says. It's not weakness, first of all. What it really is, it's learned dependency. When emotional abuse happens over time, your brain learns to survive by adapting. You wait for those good days. You hope the apology just makes up for all that hurt. That spike of relief becomes addictive. It's like gambling. You're pulling that slot machine just one more time, one more I love you, one more good weekend, one more calm night. And then there's the gaslighting, because you're the one who's too much, too sensitive. And after enough times, you start questioning your own memory. Your emotions feel unreliable. So leaving feels like stepping into chaos, whereas staying, as insane as this sounds, feels safer. There's a term, coercive control. It's emotional manipulation, guilt, fear, sometimes love, all woven together to dominate without ever laying a hand. It doesn't begin loud. It begins with like small jokes meant to teach you something, a comment that undermines your confidence, affection that feels like obligation. There was once a study in the Journal of Interpersonal Violence, and they found that emotional abuse can cause just as much, if not more, lasting harm than physical abuse. Victims reported chronic anxiety, loss of identity, depression, all without visible scars. Many survivors even doubted their own pain because the abuse was invisible. I want to tell you one story. So I was with a coworker of mine, and I was fixing his computer at his desk, and I was just crawling around. As we were fixing his computer, I get a notification on my phone, and he texted me, "You might as well have been on your knees for him. It was so obvious to everyone." My heart raced, my face went hot, and instead of anger, I felt shame. Like I'd just been caught stealing when I hadn't done a damn thing wrong. He went silent after, refused to pick up any of my phone calls. Days passed. I apologized, of course. Of course. I always did, because I believed him. I was disgusting. These were everyday moments that got twisted. One misunderstanding could turn into hours of silence or days of punishment. And just when I thought I'd done something right, well, the rules changed again. There was another moment that I'll never forget, and it was on my birthday. He told me he wanted to do something special, so he took me to Best Buy to get me a Mac laptop for my school. I was so excited. I felt like it was one of those good days I'm telling you about. But when we get there, it turned out he didn't have the money for it, so it's okay. I opened a credit card in my name. He said he'd make the payments, and I told myself, that's okay, right? Well, the employee who helped us was friendly, just doing his job, but we realized we were from the same town. Small world. We laughed about like mutual friends, old teachers, the kind of harmless conversation you forget 5 minutes later. But then I felt it. It was a sharp shove under the table. Once, then again. I look over. He looks furious. His jaw tightened. His eyes were hard. Without a word, he got up and walked out of the store while I was in line paying. He got in his truck and I ran after him, and I just watched him drive away and leave me there. And I remember thinking, how did we get here? How did a simple moment turn into humiliation? But that's what control does. It teaches you to fear joy. It twists moments that should be kind into lessons about shame. You start believing that love means managing someone's moods, and that being careful is the same as being safe. It's not. It's survival. And survival isn't the same as living. One day I saw it for myself. Gaslighting. The version of reality he painted made me doubt my own self of right and wrong. He made his discomfort my fault, and I believed it, because that's how control works, not with fists, but with rewrites, with enough retakes of the same scene until you forget what happened. There was another article from the Bay Area CBT Center, and they called something called pseudo-identity. You gradually reshape yourself to match what your partner expects of you. It's your wants, your needs, your voice as a whole just gets quieter. Over time, who you are becomes someone else's version of you, become a shell of a person. Shame and confusion become your entire personality. On his end, some kindness, apologies, I'll do better. They just drop in after the cruelty, like sugar after poison. One study, they called it intermittent reinforcement, and it hooks you deeper than consistency ever could. It's like giving someone poison water, then handing them an antidote with a kiss. Well, you only remember the kiss, right? So you keep drinking the poison. I want to tell you one more story. This one's a tough one. One night I was with friends at a restaurant, and he texted me saying he missed me. I automatically dropped my friend and everything and drove an hour to see him. I was just longing for his affection. It had been so long since I heard from his last. When I got there, he was already asleep, so I was playful and kissed to wake him up. But he only returned with anger and told me that I needed to let him sleep, and he pushed me away. I was stunned, I was confused, so I tried one more time to be loving and cutesy. He snapped, turned aggressively, and punched the headboard above my head. Luckily, I moved my head just in time, and he calmly rolled back over and went to bed. Like nothing happened. I laid there wide awake the rest of the night, just frozen in fear. The next morning, he woke up like nothing was wrong. He told me I need to respect his boundaries, and he's sorry for being a little grumpy. He was just tired, and it took me too long to get to his house, of course. I apologized, and we hugged, and I went back on my merry way. It took 3 years of moments like this to leave for good. I wish I could tell you that leaving instantly fixes everything. It doesn't. You don't walk away and suddenly feel strong. You walk away and learn what strength feels like. It's quiet at first. It's very shaky. Some days it's just good to brush your hair and eat something without that knot in your stomach. I'm going to tell you, healing is not glamorous and it's unphotogenic. So if you're listening and this sounds like your story too, please know this. You don't have to have it all figured out to begin again. You don't even have to hate them to leave. You just have to love yourself enough to stop shrinking. Start with the small things. Say no just once. Let it stand. Notice what peace feels like in your body. It's foreign at first, I promise you, but it's yours. And let people help you. Helping doesn't mean isolation. It means allowing safety back in, little by little. I want you to know you are not weak, you are not crazy, and you are definitely not alone. For my healing, it didn't happen all at once. Healing doesn't show up like an epiphany one day and that's it, you're cured. It shows up in fragments. For me, it began when I stopped blaming myself. From there, stepping away meant letting others help lift me, trusting I deserved safety, trusting that my story, messy as it is, was real. You know, years later, I saw him again. And just for a brief moment, my body froze again. My heart dropped and I was freaking mad at myself. But then I realized my body may have remembered, but my mind knew better. And this time, I didn't stay in the freeze. I just rotated my body slowly, turned my back to him, and walked right back into my life. So if you're in it now, if you're still healing or untangling those threads, this episode is for you. Because abuse doesn't have to leave a mark on your body to leave a mark on your life. And the first truth you tell yourself is the first step back home. Thank you.